Welcome to the second lecture of organic chemistry. So yesterday I have given some examples for practice. I hope some of you have tried to solve them. Once again I'll revise the basics. The phosphorus, sulfur and nitrogen halides. The basic definition of halide is where carbon carries negative charge and heteroatom carries positive charge with complete octet to both the atoms. We have started with the phosphorus halides, and the first reaction in that is Wittig reaction, and we have seen few examples of the Wittig reaction, Horner modification, Wordsworth-Emmons reaction. Today we are going to see some more illustrative example on Wittig and Wittig-Horner reaction, and if time permit we will go for the third reaction also, or maybe more reactions like Petasys reaction, Peterson-Olefinition reaction, etc. So first of all, the example number 1, benzaldehyde is treated with this phosphonium salt and potassium tertiary butoxide base. The role of base is to abstract the acidic proton. Of course, the proton attached to carbon, which is attached to phosphorus. So this becomes C minus. You can show the intermediate step. I have just shown the pushing of arrow to the electron deficient carbonyl of aldehyde, and eventually the oxygen binds with the phosphorus, which is carrying positive charge to form a betaine intermediate. Now this betaine intermediate breaks down into alkene, and the byproduct is triphenyl phosphine oxide. The second example is tetrabromomethane treated with triphenyl phosphine. So initially a phosphonium salt is formed, or it is also known as phosphorine. When it is treated with n-butyl lithium, the role of n-butyl lithium is, this reaction is transmetallation reaction where halogen is replaced by metal and you get carbon metal bond. So although we don't show, but this C minus stands for C-Li bond. This negative charge, this carbanion then attacks at the electron deficient carbon, and there is a formation of betaine intermediate which collapses into this product, the alkene and triphenyl phosphine oxide. Now in this case we can't say E or Z because the same priority groups are attached on this carbon. So here we can say 1 and 2. Here the priorities cannot be given, so this cannot be neither E or Z. Moving on to the third example, wherein this phosphorus halide is shown in this form, which is alene form, and you have to just show the arrows. I can show the arrow this way. Eventually the carbon becomes negative, phosphorus turns positive. So this is your phosphorus halide, and then the carbon attacks at carbonyl carbon, oxygen binds with phosphorus, you get betaine intermediate which eventually loses triphenyl phosphine oxide, and you get this alkene. In this case also you can't have E or Z because the priorities of these two groups on the olefin carbon are same, so we can't have E or Z in this case as well. Fourth example is the cyclic halide is treated with triphenyl phosphine. You get the salt. The role of NaOH is to pick up this proton, and you get the phosphorus halide. Now this phosphorus halide then reacts with formaldehyde. You get betaine intermediate which collapses or which breaks down into this exocyclic double bond. So these were 4 examples. We'll do some more example quickly. I hope you are getting the stuff now. This is the plain Wittig reaction wherein you are not dealing with the stabilized phosphorus halide. This halide normally gives Z alkene whenever structure permits. It depends upon the functional group which are directly attached to the olefinic carbon. So you can have E or Z depending upon that. If the priorities are same, you can't assign 1 or 2 at the olefinic carbon, then we can't have E or Z nomenclature for that alkene. Now moving on to the next example, there are some more example. We'll try to do maximum so that you'll have better access to the topic, and of course at the end of my talk, just like yesterday, today also I'll try to give some more examples for the practice purpose. So let us move on to the next example. I am not putting the numbers now, you can give the numbers. There were 5 carbons, okay. Let me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 intervening carbons. This bromide, and then triphenylphosphine, and N-butyl lithium. The product is mentioned there. Product is methyl cyclohexene. This is the product. Now if you look at these carbons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is the 6th carbon. So there is an interaction between these two carbon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This methyl is a substituent which is written in the product. So initially what we have to do is we have to rewrite this in the form of cyclic structure. So I am just putting the stuff here. This is the same compound written in cyclic form 1, 2, 3, 4, and when this interacts with triphenylphosphine, you will end up with this phosphorin or this phosphonium salt. N-butyl lithium abstracts a proton. So I will just put the 2 steps together so that we can save the time, and then here you can see that there is a formation of oxygen. This is the new bond which is formed, phosphorus with the triphenyl group. This is your butane intermediate, and when this breaks down you get this alkene. So that is the reaction mechanism, wherein this is intramolecular Wittig reaction, you can call it as, because your phosphorus salt or the phosphonium salt or phosphorus halide and the carbonyl group is within the substrate. So this is intramolecular Wittig reaction. Moving on to the next example. Now this example I have told you yesterday that this is important example, and normally this is asked in the exam, wherein this phenolic substrate or this salicyl aldehyde is treated with sodium hydride and the product is mentioned. Product is this one. So now what you can see is oxygen is getting bonded, but prior to that you have to utilize this phosphorus slide, or you have to show the mechanism for this transformation. So first of all, I will show the abstraction of OH proton with NaH, because this hydride ion can abstract a proton and you get the formation of O minus. So this is your phenoxide ion, this is very much there. Now this in turn reacts with the charge is shifted on this carbon. So eventually you have O, the intervening CH2, then next CH2 with triphenyl phosphine. So this is your phosphorane, and now you can see that there is a intramolecular Wittig reaction. So I will just put the aldehyde according to my convenience, so that you can show the attack. Now this is the intramolecular Wittig reaction, and what you can show is this aromatic sextate is written, and now these two carbons are forming a bond. So 1 2 3 4 5 6, eventually it is a 6-membered ring, and now here I can show that there is a formation of betaine intermediate which breaks down into, so this gives the desired product. So that is the important example which is normally asked in the final exams also. So this is from some reference books examples. Of course I am taking all these examples from internet. At the end, when practice session will start, we will do some more examples on the Wittig reaction. So this is the overall reaction mechanism, wherein your phosphonium salt has to be transformed into phosphorus slide, which eventually reacts with the aldehyde or ketone within the vicinity, within the compound, or with other molecule, so that you get the formation of alkene as a product. I just put some different examples here, and at the end I will give some examples also for you. This is 4-nitrobenzaldehyde, para-nitrobenzaldehyde is treated with it's a protected aldehyde, question mark, then hydrolysis, question mark. So you have to fill up these things. So initially you have to show that there is a phosphorus slide over there, then I have to write the aldehyde properly so that we can show the attack, nucleophilic attack at this center, and oxygen then binds with the phosphorus, not with phenyl ring. So you got NO2 group is written because it has O, the CH is there, and now we will have P and O, and then this this is oxygen and phosphorus. This is the carbon wherein you are having the other part. I will just put the things quickly so that this is there, and now the triphenyl is associated with this phosphorus. When this breaks down, you get this. So it is going to be an alkene or diene to be precise, and the role of H3O plus is to break down this ketal into, or this acetal rather, into aldehyde. So this is the protected aldehyde. At the end you will get the compound will be this will be the final compound after hydrolysis. So this will be the protected form, will be the intermediate, and finally with upon hydrolysis this product is going to be the next. Now let us put some examples for practice so that you can spend some time writing the curly arrows. The arrow pushing is important because I have already said that when you want to show the mechanism, you have to be precise, you have to show the arrows from electron rich to electron deficient always, and not the other way around. So the examples for practice, just like yesterday, I will put some 3-4 examples so that you can spend some time with this, and of course as the practice is appropriate, you will not find that the things are difficult. This is one. I will put second here because the structure requires more space, so we can be this ketone. Of course some substituents are there, and of course you got a different phosphorus lide with some sulfonate salts. This is second. Third one is benzaldehyde is treated with the aldehyde, the alkene is also mentioned there. And fourth one is this 8-membered ring compound, this ketone is treated with. So these 4 compounds you try to solve. In next lecture we'll have more examples, and you can post your queries. Any doubts are there, they are welcome. So these are the 4 examples for practice session. If you practice, if you don't, I will give the solutions, but I will suggest that you do practice. You may make mistake initially, but eventually you will be flawless and you will be very successful, because those who are going to appear for competitive exams, the basics are very important, and what I am doing is I am doing all these things from online sources. I am not using any book. The example at the end of chapter in the books like Claydon or any other organic chemistry reference books, you can refer those problems also. In those problems also, if you are having any queries, you can post them. We'll solve it for everybody, so that every individual will be benefited from the interaction. I hope this much is enough, because we are going slowly. I don't want to go very fast, because only 4 lectures are allotted to this chapter. We'll use say 5-6 lectures, because we don't want to be in move in hurry. And please post the queries, any suggestions, anything, and the time slot I'll stick to that, since it was first day. Some technical problems were there. Otherwise, I am very strict about time. We'll stick to the time which is given in the timetable, and hopefully we'll have better discussions during the like post lecture session. Thank you.